The deadly pendulum ride accident in India. The Discovery pendulum ride at Ahmedabad's Kankaria Lake Amusement Park snapped mid-air, crashing to the ground, leaving 2 dead and dozens injured. How could a popular amusement ride fail so catastrophically? Who was responsible for this deadly disaster? Could this tragedy have been prevented? Join us as we look into more details of the deadly pendulum ride accident that occurred in India. The thrill that turned into terror. On the 14th of July, 2019, many people, families and friends went to Ahmedabad Kankaria's Lakefront, an amusement park in Gujarat, India, to have lots of fun and enjoy the several thrilling rides at the park. The park possessed a huge array of amusements, and the park's Discovery pendulum ride was among them. The ride has a large arm with a giant circular gondola that accommodated 32 riders at a go. The ride operated by swinging its arm back and forth, reaching great heights, while the gondola itself spun for that extra thrill rush. At about 5:40 p.m., a group of riders boarded the Discovery. Manali Rajvadi, 24, a resident of CTM, and Mohammed Zaid Momim, 22, from Danilimda, were among them. Both of them were looking forward to the excitement that the ride would deliver. The safety harness were clamped in place, checked by the operator, and with a mechanical whir, the ride sprang to life. The gondola swung up into the evening sky while the Discovery started its oscillating dance, pushing higher with each swing. The wind struck riders in the faces as the ground was becoming a blur beneath them. Some bystanders even took out their smartphones to capture the moment. Everything seemed normal until it wasn't. The ride soon reached the highest point, and in an instant, disaster struck. The main shaft of the ride, which carried the weight of the gondola and its riders, snapped. With the arm compromised, there was nothing to hold the gondola in place, and it plummeted about 20 feet to the ground. Later eyewitnesses say they also heard a loud crack. The impact was devastating. The brick and concrete steps down below snapped apart when the base of the ride collided violently with it. Bystanders stood still, rooted to the ground in shock, as the gravity of what had just happened hit them. Panic struck, and bystanders, park staff, and other visitors rushed to the scene to help lift debris and aid the injured. Immediately, emergency services were contacted. Police, ambulance, and the fire brigade units raced to the scene to attend to the victims. Some of the riders were severely injured, with some in critical condition, and they were taken to the LG hospital in a hurry. On arrival, Manali Rajvadi and Mohammed Zaid Momim were declared dead. The park was evacuated afterward, and the area was closed off as authorities began an investigation into what caused the catastrophic accident. The excitement in the park disappeared instantly, leaving only feelings of terror and devastation. The news of the accident spread rapidly through the city, casting a sour pall on the city while sparking a debate about whether or not amusement parks have safe enough standards. Lives had been lost, and the amusement park lost its sense of safety. How did this happen? Families trusted the ride so much. How could it become a death trap? Did the park not follow the safety protocols? These were the haunting questions on everybody's lips. What went wrong? The truth of the deadly pendulum ride accident was soon unraveled by investigators. The more evidence came out, the more it seemed this was, in fact, no accident. This disaster happened due to negligence. Superstar Amusement Pvt Limited, a company contracted by the park to manage multiple rides, was operating the Discovery. On the surface, it did look like a nice ride. Its bright exterior and tall structure attracted thousands of riders per week. Yet there were years of neglect beneath this facade. The investigators identified the immediate cause: a snapped load-bearing cable. This cable was essential for the massive arm and spinning gondola to work. Cables don't just come apart without warning. Proper inspection found that the cable had become extremely corroded, its metal weakened by rust and long use. Why hadn't this been replaced? The records show that the ride should have been inspected more recently than a year ago. Maintenance logs were incomplete and couldn't be used to determine if critical repairs were done. The cable wasn't the only thing that was worn out. The whole ride was a ticking time bomb, with many of the other components showing advanced wear and tear. Investigators then focused their attention beyond the ride and looked at the amusement park's safety protocols, or lack of them. Amusement parks in India are required to renew their safety certificates regularly. However, these certificates require extremely strict inspection of every ride by licensed engineers to ensure that all rides meet national safety standards. In this case, the Discovery ride certifications had expired months before the accident. However, the ride continued to operate daily, carrying thousands of passengers on board. The regulatory authorities had not carried out enough inspections, and when they were cursory exercises. This leniency was taken advantage of by Superstar Amusement Pvt Limited, who considered profit to be way more important than public safety. The expired certifications were either simply ignored or hidden from view intentionally. In addition, the accident revealed another disturbing set of news: lack of operator training. Ride operators are the first line of defense for passenger safety. Pre-ride checks and ride monitoring during operation are their responsibility. In case of emergency, they have to be able to quickly stop or minimize harm. The operators of the Discovery ride, however, were hopelessly unprepared. When the ride failed, eyewitnesses reported that the staff seemed confused and panicked, and some even fled the scene, leaving the injured to be helped by bystanders. This suggested they hadn't been trained on how to take care of emergencies. The Gujarat Industrial Safety and Health Department is supposed to enforce these rules, but in reality, they had few resources and even fewer hands to do so. Superstar Amusement Pvt Limited and many smaller amusement parks took advantage of the lack of oversight to cut costs. After the accident, authorities filed charges under the Indian Penal Code section for negligence and endangerment against Superstar Amusement Pvt Limited. Survivors and their loved ones also sued them, seeking compensation for their injuries and losses. But there are no easy answers to legal battles of this sort, as they tend to drag on for years, and many wonder if justice will ever be served. In addition, arrests were made, which included the park manager and other staff members. However, the victims' families felt these measures came a little too late. The cost of human negligence. The office of the city's mayor said 2 people were killed and 29 others injured. Arti, who had boarded with his friends, was a young college student who survived but lost both her legs. That ended her dream of becoming a professional dancer. Her story is just one of many who were victims of the accident. Those who lost their children spoke of their grief and their anger. One mother tearfully said, "We trusted the park to keep our children safe. They failed us." Manali Rajvadi's father, Vimal Rajvadi, said, "It is a shock for us to lose our daughter in such a manner. She was a fun, loving, ever-smiling and happy girl." The paramedics and firefighters who were at the scene said it was one of the worst scenes they'd ever seen. They had an emotional roller coaster recovering bodies, comforting grieving families and dealing with survivors. In the wake of the incident, victims and their families pressed for increased safety regulations, stiffer penalties against neglect, and an agreement that the management of the amusement park would ensure that no other families would have to go through what they did. The government also said it planned tighter safety regulations for amusement parks. Penalties for non-compliance were raised, and frequent inspections were demanded. However, for the victims' families, no amount of regulations put in place will bring their loved ones back. Such tragedies as the Kankaria pendulum ride accident are a sharp wake-up call that safety must and should not be negotiated. Life is more important than any profit. What do you know about safety in amusement parks? Do you think enough is being done to protect visitors? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video informative, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.